Is Omega Shenron worth your time? Today we're going to go ahead and talk about that because I know there are a lot of people that whenever Omega Shenron came out, they didn't really give Omega Shenron the benefit of the doubt. They looked at it as, oh, I don't like Omega Shenron, or oh, I don't like GT, or whatever it is. And, they, for whatever reason, skipped his banner. And then later on, and back then, we, myself included, thought that Omega Shenron was nobody special. And, time passes and we look at him and really realize what he's worth. So I want to kind of give you guys that are on global, the up and up as far as Omega Shenron and whether or not he's worth your time as far as, if you're a free to play player or whatever it is, and you have to save your stones, you have to be careful with stone management, excuse me, and the upcoming banners that will be coming after Omega Shenron. So this is Omega Shenron right here. Leader skill is STR types, 3 key, and HP attack and defense plus 70%. So he's the god lead for that STR unit group. Causes immense damage to the opponent and greatly lowers defense. Attack plus 80%, and all enemies attack minus 30%. Brutal beatdown, fear and faith, big bad bosses, shocking speed, GT, shadow dragons, and fierce battle. So he also has amazing stats. If you look down below, really, really well-rounded stats. Some of the most well-rounded non-LR stats in the game, if not the most well-rounded non-LR stats in the game. Prior to Super Saiyan 4s. That being said, let's look at Omega Shenron. Right? Let's look at his blink skill. Like brutal beatdown is not very useful if ever. Shadow dragons either, but every other link that he has is a top tier link amongst villains and amongst the STR unit group. So there we go with Omega Shenron has amazing units, or excuse me, amazing links for the groups that he's going to be linking with. The passive is amazing too. Unconditional 80% up and an unconditional attack down by 30%. I can't tell you how big of a difference 30% down makes because not only, let's not talk about the 80% because that with immense means Omega's going to hit really hard. That's just a given. Omega hits for like 450k around there at Super Tech 10. So he hits really hard. Not the hardest, but he hits really hard, especially because he has a 12 key multiplier of 150%. Really, really powerful unit. But that being said, his defensive value, right? 30% down on the enemy's attack literally makes all of your units on the field with Omega Shenron tanks. You don't believe me, you can go ahead and watch any of my Mono STR videos, where I'm showcasing Omega Shenron, and you'll see his defensive value there. And that, as of course, allows you to have a little bit more longevity on the field and allows you to survive a little bit longer in these boss events. He's a major reason why STR is able to push through just about every event in the game. I don't think there's a single event STR can't beat at this point. I've beaten all of them myself. I don't think there's a single event that STR can't beat. And it's a lot of it's due to Omega Shenron, if not most of it. And that 30% is a really big difference because with units like Metal Rildo and that GT Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta that also comes out with the Omega Shenron banner, guys that get high defense, that 30% allows them to basically tank everything. And this guy himself already has 7,000 defense. So we're not talking about the dupe system because that's not out on global yet. But when it does come out, this guy's defense gets really high too. So all the things considered, he is one of the hardest hitters due to the passive that he has and the immense modifier and the 12 key multiplier for 150% and the nice stats, 8,800, and one of the best tankers, natural tankers defensively that you can get around. So he's a really, really well-rounded unit that'll come out. And that leader skill is one of the best leader skills in the game because it allows you to run STR mono teams to basically their peak. And, Global doesn't have Super Saiyan 4s. They won't have them for another few months. It is what it is. That being said, even when those guys roll around, Omega Shenron still finds a slot on majority of teams. The problem with Omega Shenron and the Super Saiyan 4s is that they give like the hero STR type characters 120% and 3 key, and then the villains get shafted with the Super Saiyan 4 leads. They get like 40 or 50%. I think it's 50%, and 1 key. So obviously, that's nowhere near as good as Omega's. So basically, Omega kind of loses a little bit of relevance there, especially because, you have GT Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Majub, who gets his rebirth, which is actually really, really solid. Super Pikkon, who isn't available on Global yet. I don't know if he ever will be, to be honest, because he's a Dragon Ball Heroes character. There's a lot of things that make Omega Shenron really, really good. And, moving on to the next portion of this, because I feel like I've kind of jerked Omega enough here. He's one of the best units in the game, honestly. As far as Global goes, he's an easy shoe-in as the third best card in the game behind Super Vegito and Buhan, and it's honestly going to stay that way until Goku Black Rose comes out, because regular Goku Black, initially we thought Gotenks was better, but I'm sorry, Omega just brings too much to the table. Gotenks is a little streaky, he gets really, really good, hits really hard, sometimes you have to micromanage him and things like that, but he doesn't give that unit group anything that they don't already have. That whole tech unit group is full of hard hitters. Omega jumps into a unit group as the leader, of course, and a villain character in a group that's predominantly hero characters, so you have to kind of maneuver it a little bit differently, and he adds a lot of versatility by hitting hard, greatly lowering defense, which I'll admit isn't very viable unless you're going up against Broly. It doesn't really do much outside of that. I mean, it's a nice little thing to throw on a card, but it's not really noticeable because defense is such a garbage stat, and all that enemies attack minus 30%. It just allows everybody to take a lot less damage on normal and super attacks, so they all just get a little bit more tanky. Moving on to the next portion of the video, I think I've already proven that Omega Shenron is worth your time. He's going to be the third best card in the game for a long time, and then he's only going to get bumped down to fourth. I mean, honestly, I'd say he's probably top 10 still on JP with Super Saiyan 4s out. He may even be top 7 or 8, so it just comes down to your value on the cards. Now, he'll get a lot more relevance as far as JP is concerned whenever, if and or when, I'll just kind of say that to preface that whenever they get a villain version of the Super Saiyan 4 lead that actually buffs the villains, like 120% and 3 key, and then at that point you could probably run that villain lead and then Super Saiyan 4 Goku lead and just run whatever you want in the middle, and it'll be crazy. A friend and then your lead. So looking at the banners that'll come out, Global just got this is DBZ Dokkan stats. As you see, this is where you go to get a lot of the rates. Now, Japan now has the rates implemented, so I haven't used this a little bit. But shout out to the Laughing Man for all the hard work he's done with this. And the Dokkan Reddit, of course, awesome community, as always. But Tech Frieza just came out, okay? This is the Dragon Ball Heroes banner I was talking about. Super Pycon right there. Really, really good unit. Shocking speed unit. STR card. Greatly lowers attack. He gets like 10,000 more attack on his passive when he fights one enemy, which means he's always going to have it on a boss stage. So, except for like the first round of the boss stage, because sometimes they have 2 or 3 enemies, but it is what it is. Really good unit. This is the Vegeta I'm talking about. He gets 70% more attack and defense when he's above 30%. Allows him to hit hard and tank well. He doesn't have Over in a Flash for whatever reason. They shafted him. The Goku and the Nova are okay. But moving past that, right, we jump into Dragon Ball Fusions, which should come out sometime soon. That banner should come really soon on Global, because the game I believe is pretty much localized everywhere at this point, or it's about to be, like the next week or so. And then we have the standard double rate rebirth banners, and then we jump into the Goku Black banner. So Goku Black and Broly are there. If you don't have those guys, that's your chance to get them. I would still say Omega Shenron is more important than both of them. So they're obviously, none of these banners up to this point are something you should be saving for. The ticket banner, the God banner, this is what we call a God banner. I don't know if this will come out in this place after the Goku Black or at the same time, because what happened was Goku Black was airing already, so he's not in this God banner because they were both running side by side. So I don't know, but this will be a good banner. The problem with this banner is that all the rates are incredibly low for all these guys. Really, really low rates for all these guys. And I mean, it's very enticing, right? It has all your favorite guys, all the Dokkan exclusives. So if you're going to save for something, I guess that could be it. Raleigh, the best rainbow leader in the game. This Broly Rebirth banner, crap. Don't waste your time. Now, this is where you get into the good stuff. Both of these guys, they're both really, really good. Rose is better. I've said so many times. But Vegito Blue, with the dupe system stuff, that man, he's ridiculous. It honestly doesn't really matter who's better or not. But, honestly, looking at this stuff, and then Perfect Cell's really good, STR Perfect Cell. Looking at all this, and then you get into the Rage stuff and Merge Zamasu. Honestly, and then Intelligence Vegeta, you have a lot of opportunities to save. And then, of course, everybody's favorites, the Super Saiyan 4s. But you have a lot of opportunities to save stones. I would basically, as a final verdict, say that it would be good if you're a free-to-play player to at least try to summon Omega Shenron. Don't go crazy, because understand that Omega will be back. I kind of clicked on it and it won't load the way I want it to. Omega will be back. He's back on the Cell banner if you wanted to try there. He's back on that God banner if you wanted to try there. He's back on the Rose banner, which, honestly, the Super Saiyan Rose Goku, yes, Rose, not Rose, Rose banner should be maybe one of the best bets, because it does have Buhan, who's the second best card in the game. Well, I guess he gets knocked down to third because Rose steps in as 2 behind Super Vegito. Basically, you have 2, 3, and 4, in my opinion, or you can say Omega is probably like 5 to Vegito Blue. It is what it is. It doesn't really matter after like the first couple. But period, you have the best villains in the game right here. Best villains in the game, all in this one banner. And Kaioken Blue, and then the best Vegito, and then you have the other Vegito that's really, really good, amazing. So honestly, if you're looking at Omega Shenron as a unit, he has a lot of longevity. You may want to wait until this banner. You may want to wait until that banner, but otherwise, I want to really implore you guys. I know this banner looks enticing, but I want to implore you guys not to go crazy on it because it has really bad rates. Really bad rates. I mean, historically low rates as far as individual characters go that are featured on a banner. So, I don't know. But, yeah, that'll probably be the best bet. Just try it for Omega Shenron. He's worth your time. Don't go crazy on his initial banner. He comes back several times if you don't get him. Or maybe there's something else you're looking at that you really want. It is what it is, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video nonetheless. Punch that subscribe button if you're new. If you want more videos like this, if you want more content like this, let me know down below in the comment what you'd like for me to talk about, and I can do that for you. And, yeah, as always, have an awesome day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.